It's 6:37 p.m. We will now go to board protocol. That will be read by me, Board President David Yonda. The Board of Trustees of LaPorte Independent School District is now convened. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. Every student's success is our number one priority. As the LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting. Board members may not respond to the public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. Thank you for taking time this evening to join us and for your interest in the LaPorte Independent School District. At this time, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of the United States flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Now we'll have an invocation will be given by Mrs. Melissa Crutcher, Board Trustee.
Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day and for bringing us all together safely. We ask that you watch over our students, teachers, staff, and all who make decisions on our district. We ask that you protect them each and every day and that you grace us with all the blessings that you bestow upon those who are in your favor. Please continue to watch over their families as we go into the holiday season, keep everyone safe from harm, and bring everybody together back in the winter season safely and in your favor. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we will now have board recognitions. Board, if you'll join me in the front.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Adam Holland, and I am the Communications and Community Relations Director for the district. And the reason you all are here is because you made history. This school district is, 115 or 105 years old. For the first time ever, the girls and boys cross-country teams went together to a state championship. We've got some folks that have a basketball game next door, so we're going to get the show on the road. We're going to start off with our boys cross-country team. The 2021 LaPorte High School boys cross-country team are Bryce Shawley.
You're Bryce, right?
And if you guys will just stay up there so that we can get a big group shot. Logan Sweeney. Isai Linares. Malachi Mitchell. Brady Axtell. Sergio Laura. Brendan Andrews. Noah Baca. Austin Venable. And they were coached by Ashley Stewart. Come on up, brother. Sorry, Aiden. My apologies. Aiden Bruce.
Let's give those coaches their hand too.
Do we need to bunch them up and get some on the knees? Because that's a long group.
You gotta go?
No, basketball game. Go get him, Brady. Go get him. Congratulations, Coach.
So now let's move over to the girls cross country team. The 2021 LaPorte High School girls cross country team includes Ella Jessen, Naomi Green, Emily Lechuga, Audrey Fitch, Cassidy Aravala, Penelope Rios, Celine Mitchell, Paloma Macias, and Mackenzie Craigmore. These ladies are coached by Carolina Rodriguez. Where did she go?
And Jill Renovich.
Jillian Riddich.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. We know that you want to stick around, but you're welcome to go. We're going to bring in some other honorees so that we can all fit in the room. And again, congratulations.
Jackson loves her shot. Jackson loves her shot. Round two. Come in and have a seat now.
Yeah, everybody. Good evening, y'all. Thanks for coming and thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the music from the Porte High School Orchestra. My name is Adam Holland. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Relations, and it's really, really cool to be honoring coworkers. This is really nifty. I'm just going to go down the list. Every word that I read from here, your principal said about you. It's a quote. So we're going to start out in no particular order. Ann Eady, interventionist, Bayshore Elementary School. In addition to working with our at-risk and dyslexia students, she organizes Battle of the Books, Secret Society for Problem-Based Learning, and she's a UIL coach. Whatever is asked of her, Ms. Eady helps without hesitation. Melissa Free, Principal Secretary, College Park Elementary School. Ms. Free is always available to assist parents, students, and staff. She takes the initiative to do things that need to be done. She is an essential part of the success of our campus. Wayne Brascato, teacher, secondary DAEP. Coach Brascato puts a lot of effort into making sure every day is a great day in our campus. He goes the extra mile to connect with students, especially our special needs population. Kelsey Grider, library paraprofessional, Lomax Elementary School. She could not make it this evening, but I will say that Ms. Grider comes to work every day with a smile on her face and love in her heart. She has a passion for keeping our beautiful library in tip-top shape. Elton Harris Jr., crossing guard, anyone who has driven through the schools of the James H. Baker sixth grade campus over the past 5 years has been greeted with a friendly wave by Elton Harris Jr. He was featured in a news article a few years ago because of the number of people he has touched with his friendliness. Jimmy Shawley, library aide, Jimmy Reed Elementary School. Jenny goes above and beyond in everything she does. She not only maintains our neat, organized library, she works with our kindergarten students on letters and sounds and sight words every day. Ron Sandoval, math interventionist. Ms. Sandoval has been an enormous asset at Leo Arizona by assisting teachers, students, and administration. She's always working with students to meet their individual needs. She always goes above and beyond for students, and Rizzuto appreciates the dedication and time she spends serving others. Tiffany Vaughn, teacher, LaPorte High School. Tiffany works with the Interact Club, creating servant leaders among our students. Under her leadership, this organization is always looking for ways to make our school and community a better place to be. And I guarantee you they rack up like 1 million volunteer hours every year. That number Tiffany Vaughn is a true bulldog and definitely makes a difference at LaPorte High School. Jill Howells, counselor, Lomax Junior High School. Jill continues to provide social and emotional care to all our students and staff members through what has been one of the most difficult times in American education history. Her unending love and support for all of Lobo Nation is an inspiration to everyone. Jennifer Schuler, Principal Secretary of the Porte Elementary School. Ms. Schuler consistently goes above and beyond the expectations of her job. She is truly the backbone of LaPorte Elementary, and often my saving grace. That's from your principal. And mine too. You've helped me out a time or 6 over the years. Ms. Schuler does it all, from promoting a positive school climate to keeping me on track to supporting our teachers and making our students feel special. Jessica Evans, teacher, Academy of Biola DeWalt High School. Jessica is being recognized this evening for her continued efforts to make a positive impact on our students both on and off campus. I am amazed by the compassion she shows to our children whether helping young kids with literacy opportunities or inventing creative ways to engage and encourage our students. Trixie Hatfield, PE teacher at Heritage Elementary School. She couldn't make it this evening, but Coach Hatfield implements academics in her lessons by using math, writing, and the fundamental 5 in her lessons. Every year, she organizes a fun fall field day, hosts a weekly run walk club, and in January, the annual family fitness night for families to commit to an active and healthy lifestyle. And finally, Clifford Jackson, DAEP paraprofessional, LaPorte Junior High School. Cliff, your principal says about you that you have shown an uncanny ability to reach kids and build relationships after just one interaction. Anything he is asked to do, he accepts the challenge. He has definitely made a difference at LaPorte Junior High.
We just need to get right here.
Sitting back here and shaking hands and then go back up there and then. So make that.
Tell the boss right there.
Oh. I gotta look at that like. Oh no, this is all blank.
Oh, who thought that was funny? She hadn't been to a Clear Creek meeting, I can
You saw my
tell.
look. I'm like, yeah. Okay. Okay.
I had nothing to do with it.
Okay. Okay, everyone, we're going to go to item 7, public comments. The board will now hear those who wish to make comments or have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and board policy. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Ms. Thompson, are there any?
There are none.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Thompson. Okay, go to item 8, public hearing for the district's financial integrity rating system of Texas First for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. I guess we'll go ahead. CFO, do we need to open up first, the public? Well, open it. Okay.
Comes Ms. Ron.
Okay, present, then open. Okay.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to go through this quickly. You have questions, just ask them, and then we'll do public comment. So this is the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. They rate us every year. It's based on our 1920 data, so it's kind of a lag. And we received a superior rating. So I think it's the 19th year that the financial health of every school district in Texas has been evaluated, and we've had a superior rating every year. The primary goal of the first report is to achieve quality performance in the management of each school district's financial resources a goal made more significant due to the complexity of accounting associated with Texas school finance system. Now I don't know what legislative session, but a couple legislative sessions ago, they changed some of the components of the first report, so you'll see a couple new ones this year that we haven't talked about in the past. So the ratings are superior, above standard, meet standard, and substandard achievement. Districts with a substandard achievement, and they kind of aligned them to the letter grades that they have on student accountability, and they must file a corrective action plan with TEA. So this is the overall state summary. So 850, there's 1,020 districts, 856 received superior, 111 above standard, 42 meet standard, and 11 were substandard. And this year, those kind of changed. Less people received superior than they had in the past due to the changes of the first report. So now I'm going to go over each of our criteria, and then there are some things that we have to tell about board members and superintendent expenditures. Was the complete annual financial report and data submitted to TEA within 30 days of the November 27th or January 28th deadline, depending on the school district's fiscal year-end date of June 30th or August 31st, respectively? Our year-end is June 30th. It was due by November 27th. It was approved by the board on November 10th, 2020, and submitted to TEA on November 18th, 2020. So we passed that one. Was there an unmodified opinion in the annual financial report on the financial statements as a whole? And yes, we had an unmodified opinion. Was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? And we were in compliance. That includes anything related to our bond payments, those kind of things. Did the school district make timely payments to TRS, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, and other government agencies? And yes, we made all of our payments timely. 5's not scored. I don't know why they just don't move one up, but this is a second or third year it's been on there not scored. Was the average change in assigned or unassigned fund balance over 3 years less than a 25% decrease, or did the current year's assigned or unassigned fund balance exceed 75 days of operational expenditures? So the ceiling was passed. The district's fund balance did not decrease. However, the average change was 0.1947, which is less than 0.25. The current year's assigned and unassigned fund balance exceeded 75 days of operational expenditures. Fund balance was $50,595,041 and was greater than 75 days of expenditures of $24,163,266. So that's what our 75 days of expenditures would equate to based on dividing it by 365 days, our expenditures by 365 days. Was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures? The number of days of cash on hand must be above 90 days to receive the highest ranking of 10. The district's number of days of cash on hand was 294.64.
Awesome.
Was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? The current assets to current liabilities ratios must be a 3 or above to receive the highest ranking of 10. The district's ratio was 2.3, which is a rating of 6. Now this is current assets to current liabilities. As you can see in 7, our days of cash on hand was a lot of days of cash on hand. I don't remember what legislative session it was, but they allowed us to make our Chapter 41 payment in August instead of making it in, we used to have to make it February, March, April, 6 months, and we did 1/6 of it each month. And so most of it was paid by the time we got to June. Well, now we can make it in August. So last year, we made it in August, which meant we had that liability on our books, plus we had that high cash balance. Well, it also gave us a 6 on this. If we went ahead and paid it in June, it's going to help our first report. So this year we did that. So you can see that there's a lot of moving parts that we have to look at. So next year that rating should be a little higher than 6, but our cash on hand will be a little lower. It'll still meet the 90 days though. Did the school district general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures excluding facilities, acquisition, and construction? If not, was the school district's number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? So we got all 10 points there because our number of days was more than 60 days. Did the school district average less than a 10% variance when comparing budgeted revenues to actual revenues for the last 3 fiscal years? So the ratio must be below 0.1 to receive the highest rating of 10. We got a 10. Our rating was actually 1.02, and we appealed it because we received some money. It averages 3 years, and 1 year we received some Ike money like 2 years after Ike that we weren't expecting, and so that affected our revenue, so we appealed that and they accepted our appeal. Was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? If the school district's increase of students to membership over 5 years was 7% or more, and we didn't have an increase, so that didn't apply, then the school district passes this indicator automatically. The ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets must be below 0.6 to receive the highest rating of 10. The district's ratio is 0.68, which is a rating of 8. Was the debt per 100 of assessed property value ratio sufficient to support future debt payments? And the debt per 100 of assessed property value must be less than 4 to receive the highest rating of 10, and ours was 3.271, so we received 10 on that. Was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio? LaPorte's school district had an administrative cost ratio of 0.093. The cost ratio has to be between 0.1 for a district our size to receive 10 points, so ours was lower. Did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years? The school district did not have a 15% decline in the student to staff ratio over 3 years. The percent change for the district was 3.58%. Was the school district's ADA within the allotted range of the district's biennial pupil projections submitted to TEA? So every biennium we have to submit 2 years of pupil projections before we even know what our enrollment is. It's in the future. So we have to be within 10% of what our estimate is in order to pass this, or 3%. Well, hold on, I'm losing my place. I think it's 10%. It's an allotted range. The school's ADA was within the allotted range of the biennial pupil projections. The allotted range was less than 10%. The district's range was 4.47%. So it's 10%, and we were at 4.47. So that's something that we're just kind of like having to guess, and they're judging us on it, but it's okay. I mean, it's an educated guess, but with declining enrollment, sometimes it's kind of hard. Did the external independent auditor report that the AFR, annual financial report, was free of any instances of material weaknesses to the internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, and federal funds, and our annual financial report was free of any instances of material weaknesses? Did the external independent auditor indicate the annual financial report was free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? And the district's annual financial report was free of any instances of material noncompliance. Did the school district post the required financial information on its website in accordance with government code, local government code, Texas Education Code, Texas Administrative Code, and other statutes, laws, and rules that were in effect at the school district's fiscal year end? And the maximum you can get is a 5 there, and we did. We had everything posted that we needed to have. Did the school board members discuss the district's property value at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopted its budget? And we also did that. So that's all the first report. Any questions on any of that?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay.
During my employment with the district, which was eons ago, I was a HR coordinator, a PIMS coordinator, and a finance analyst. Came to the board. This is my 18th year on the board. I know that I tell you this as often as I can remember to tell you, but I hope that everyone in the audience, and as well as the people on the board, realize how very fortunate we are to have you and your staff in charge of the finances for Porte ISD, because I'm telling you, they've not always been taken care of like this. And you guys have done an amazing job, And it makes me, as a trustee, feel very secure. The last thing I'm ever concerned about is our finances. And thank you and your staff for all the work you do to make sure that that money is taken care of.
Thank you. I will definitely pass that on. Okay, the next thing is our report that's required to report information. Now, this is for fiscal year end 2021, and it's expenses for board members and superintendent, and it's kind of strange because we've had COVID, so there really hasn't been any travel, so the expenditures are a lot lower than they normally would be. So the superintendent's is $939 for the year. Board member Kathy Green is $920. Board member David Yonda is $495. Board member Jeff Martin is $495. Board member Chris Murdoch is $595. Board member Russell Shoppy is $595. Board member Deanne Thompson is $495. And board member Lee Wallace was $425. So during that year, we had a board member change, so we have 8 board members listed on here.
Rhonda, I have a question. I know you had asked about the first 4 pages. I do have one question going back for just a moment. On the first document where it says, I was looking at ceiling indicators on indicator 17, 79 is the highest you can score. I'm actually looking at on the backup materials on page 9 of the.
Page 9.
It's before the responses.
And what's your question?
On the ceiling indicators, it says indicator 17 material weakness. Response to indicators a no, and it says maximum 0.79, maximum rating C. So that's the
Right,
highest
so
you
there's
get?
certain things that if you don't meet, you can't get higher than a certain threshold. It doesn't add into your numbers like on your average.
Okay.
Did that answer
So
your
the
question?
C is the highest you can get on that? Or-
Right, if you don't pass that indicator.
Okay.
I think there's 2 or 3, but that is something, there's always been indicators like that
Okay.
from the beginning of FIRST.
Okay.
Different ones that can make you automatically fail.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, the next thing is any outside compensation and/or fees received by the superintendent for professional consulting and/or other personal services. And our superintendent didn't receive anything for the fiscal year in '21. Cash gifts by executive officers and board members, and nobody received any cash gifts. And this is economic value of $250 or more in the aggregate. Business transactions between the school district and the board members, and we had no business transactions between the district and any of our board members. The last thing that we have to do is if our superintendent contract's not posted online, we have to post it with the first report, and that's attached as well. So that's the end of the first report. If there's no questions, you're welcome to open it up to public
Board, do
hearing.
y'all have any further questions on the first report? Okay. If not, then we'll open up for the public hearing at 7:10 p.m. Public, is anybody wish to come up and speak or
Thank you,
comment?
Rhonda.
Yeah, thank you, Rhonda. Speak or comment on the first report? Any takers? Okay, if not, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:11 p.m. Okay, we'll go on to item 9, administrative reports. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board, we have so many wonderful things to celebrate this holiday season, and given that we are at the end of our fall semester, I've asked our principals to give each of you a brief update of the progress on their campuses. And so I'll forego a superintendent's update this month, and the principals will give my update based on their campuses and the wonderful things that are happening. And so we'll start with our elementary campuses, and whoever would like to begin, they'll have a few minutes to kind of just share what's going on their campuses, and you guys just kind of follow suit. I want everybody to get up at the same time. Thank you, Ms. Basile. Bayshore, B for Bayshore.
And we thought you were just volunteering. You were going in alphabetical. Okay, we got you.
Thank you guys for this opportunity. The fall semester at Bayshore has been amazing. Our kids are making such great growth. Our kids celebrate each day the accomplishments they're doing. Our kindergartners come and ring the bell for mastering their sight words and just the different things that they're doing every day. So we are working really closely with our instructional coaches to make sure that we are closing those gaps and making the growth that we need, and we're seeing it each time that we take a curriculum-based assessment. So our teachers are working really hard. We've started our campus mentoring program recently. We have about 25 students in our campus mentoring program right now. And in January, we're going to begin our Buffalo Bayou Boys mentoring program, and that's an after-school program that we're going to begin. We've had a few family events that have been extremely well attended. Our trunk or treat had over 200 families there, so it was a really good event. We've invited the community to come and read to our students this month. The next 2 weeks, we'll have people come in and read during our students' library time. And we will be caroling through Bayshore next Monday night. So if you need our schedule, I can send it to you. And we are looking forward to our Supper with Santa as well next week. So we've had a really good start to the school year, and it's been a great transition to Bayshore. Thank you so much for your time, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just wanted to let you know that College Park, we're working really hard. We're trying to close some deficits that our students have. We're seeing lots of growth in our level learning with our interventionists. With our newly added math interventionist, we are seeing lots of good mathematical reasoning and vocabulary being used. We really thank you very much for the instructional coaches. They have been an asset to our teachers. The assistance has helped increase the rigor in each of our classrooms. We've enjoyed having our watchdogs back. The students really, really enjoy that. And we had a very successful PTA Fall Festival, and we're looking forward to Supper with Santa on Thursday. And we are doing our holiday readers, so if any of y'all are available next week, just let us know, because we still have some openings, and we'd love to have you. And on behalf of College Park faculty and staff, we wish you a happy holidays.
Okay, thank you. And just want to say what an awesome job third grade choir Rachel Sam did for the holiday dinner, and all the kiddos singing. That was very awesome. So let's give a round of applause for that.
Evening, everyone, and Heritage Hawks are also working hard. Each of them had a goal, a reading, math, science. Some of them even had behavioral goals, which they are achieving, and we're celebrating by ringing a bell in the office. So there's lots of bell ringing going on, and we celebrate and yell and scream when we hear the bell, so we're excited about that. A couple of things that we hadn't done before. Last Friday we had our Genius Hour, which we've had in the past, but we made the theme a STEM Genius Hour. And it was lots and lots of fun. I was really amazed by the activities that each of the teachers came up with, and the kids loved it. If you follow me on Twitter, I just flooded it. I took tons of pictures and videos of all the wonderful STEM activities that they had. Another fun thing that just kind of sort of happened during our fall fundraiser, one of the rewards was to be principal of the day if they sold a certain number of chocolate bars. I had no idea this was going to be so popular. We ended up with 46 principals of the day. So Miss Barker and I were like,
So
oh
you
my
get to
God.
go home for 46 days?
I wish.
Yeah, I know.
So these, and in fact, a couple of days I had meetings or something, and I just looked at them. I said, "You guys have to help Miss Barker because I have to go," and they took it so seriously, and they even did teacher evaluations, and it was so much fun, and we had kindergarten students of the day, principals of the day, all throughout. We did it for like 2 weeks because we had to split them up because there were so many, but it gave us an opportunity to once again look at the focus of our year, which is student voice and student choice. And both Genius Hour and being principals of the day gave us an opportunity to listen to our students. And so that started our student panel, which we try to do every year, where they asked us questions and we videoed it, and then we're going to ask them questions. And that's going to be a great way to start January, to refocus, to really look at what our kids are saying, what they're enjoying in school, what they need help with. And, January brings our mid-year assessments where we will celebrate our growths, and we will, of course, look at where we're missing where we have some gaps that we have to fill, and of course we'll start with our STAR tutoring in January. But it's been the family events, bringing people back, the watchdogs. We're doing all of that, and I almost feel like we're almost back to normal. So we're real excited about that, and so I wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year for next year. Thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Sometimes I'm an R. Okay. So what's going on at Jenny Reed? So at Jenny Reed, we just finished our second round of response to intervention. We're looking at our progress trackers, and it looks good. Our teachers are working hard. Our students are working hard. And, of course, we have some gaps to fill still, but our teachers are taking care of it. And I have to say, I want to give kudos also to our coaches. Our coaches have been phenomenal with our teachers, providing curriculum guides, planning with them, helping them to bump up that Tier 1 instruction so we don't have as many response to intervention students because the Tier 1 instruction is stronger. So kudos to them, and thank you for them. That has been a great addition to our district. We have our teachers are tutoring before school, after school, during school. We have a tutor coming in. Our interventionists are tutoring. They're all tutoring. 45 is like a bad word. Don't say it. But we're dealing with it. We're excited to receive over $9,000 in grants from our LaPorte Education Foundation. Yay! One of our teachers is extremely excited about getting a really large grant for something called Reflex Math, and it's supposed to be, I don't know that much about it. She was telling me all about it because she was so excited. It's about helping our students be more fluent with their math facts. So I can't wait to get that purchased and working as well. Our family literacy night was a huge hit. It was packed. We had so much candy, we had to give some to DeWalt. We had a lot of parents there, kids there. It's just great to have our community back in our building. And we had volunteers for our field day the Friday before Thanksgiving, and the parents are excited about coming back as well. We had our student council did a food drive. We were partnered with Fairmont Park Church. That was a great success as well. The parents have just been amazing, just wanting to give, wanting to be there, wanting to participate in everything. Our watchdogs are kicking off. We have a few that are interested. We haven't had any in yet, but we're working on that. And what else? Christmas on Main was great. Y'all, it felt like LaPorte again. And I was just, that night was a great night for me. As crazy as it is, trying to get the kids back to the right parents and all that, that's just a small piece of it, though. The other thing I wanted to mention was we have a chess club. So Ms. Williams is working with our kiddos on Friday, teaching them to play chess. We hope that in the spring we'll be able to have a tournament. So if anyone knows how to play chess, we might be inviting you to challenge our students a little bit. So Supper with Santa is Thursday night. We're excited about that. We had our PTO board kind of not really disbanded. They kind of moved on. We had a lot of that were with us for many years, and they moved on. So we have a new PTO board. We're brand new at this, but we're going to get Supper with Santa rolling, and they're excited about that for Thursday. So if you can join us, 5:30 to 7. And I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Jenny Reed Elementary.
Thank you.
All right, well, good evening. I feel like I'm going to come up and say a lot of the same things, but hello to family, friends, neighbors. LPE is having a great first semester. First of all, I have to say, at the beginning of the year, we were wondering where the kids are. Well, they're here. They're at LaPorte Elementary. We are at 550 kids, and they keep coming every single day. So our enrollment is growing by leaps and bounds, and that's a wonderful thing to see so many kids coming into the school. And they're coming in and they're ready to learn. So we are doing the same thing. We are filling in gaps. We are meeting short-term goals. It's great to empower our kids to set those goals, and they all have a long-term goal, whether it's science or social studies or math or reading. And they set short-term goals along the way, and they are doing a phenomenal job in reaching those goals. And so, like my peers, we celebrate those every day, and we give kudos to our interventionists. We were so blessed to add a third interventionist, and they are helping so much, and definitely our instructional coaches as well, who have helped us to align our curriculum and to raise the engagement and the level of rigor that we have. So we're super excited for the academic progress that our kids are making. One of the things I'm most excited about at LaPorte Elementary is we actually just reestablished a PTO. We've gone about 7 years without having a PTO, and we have a full PTO board. It's super exciting. We might have borrowed from Jenny Reed. That could have been why theirs was a little bit disbanded, but we had one of their parents come join us over at LaPorte Elementary, and he really has spearheaded our effort. And we have a full board. We've had a couple of membership drives, and we are having our first PTO-sponsored event. They are helping us kind of co-coordinating our Supper with Santa, which will be Thursday, so we're super, super excited to bring that parent involvement back into the schools. The parent involvement nights that we have had, we've had our Dudes with Donuts was well attended. Again, we had about 250 dads out on our basketball courts.
Wow.
That was awesome. And our family literacy night, Dr. Jackson did a great job of reading to our kiddos, also well attended with about 250 families that are coming. So what a wonderful thing to see them back in the schools. It feels like LaPorte again, and it's a great thing. And I think the last thing that I'd like to mention is that we are working on a school-wide kindness campaign. We are really realizing that our kids who have been secluded for a while may not know how to socialize and treat each other with the kindness that we all know that they deserve. And so we are being intentional about teaching kids to be kind to each other. We're holding meetings each morning, talking about kindness. We all give the proud cards, so we all give recognition for our kids when they're doing good things, but we're teaching the kids to do the same thing. So they're giving out kindness cards to each other. So they're recognizing kind acts. And we're teaching them to recognize those kind acts in people that they would not typically associate with. It's easy to recognize your friend, right? So they are looking for kind acts from people outside of their circle of friends. And it's truly changing the culture and climate of our school to really focus on the positive. So we're excited about that and look forward to a great 2022. I hope you all do the same. Merry Christmas to each of you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful and happy New Year.
Hello, everyone. My list is a lot shorter. I hope that's okay. So at Lomax Elementary, our Lomax Lions, we had a phenomenal literacy night in October. We usually start that with a character dress-up day with the kids and the staff, and we have a huge parade. And I don't know if you've ever been to a Lomax Elementary character parade, but we go all out. I don't know if they rent costumes. I don't know. It was something I learned last year. My first year at Lomax was you don't sketch on your costumes. So I have a closet full of costumes now. But our literacy night, the parents absolutely loved coming back in the building. So they are ready, they're willing to help us out, and so we enjoyed that. Right now, we have a food drive going on, and our food drive is organized and ran by our GT students. We have a very large GT population at Lomax Elementary, so that's one of their yearly projects, is to organize. We have a contest. The grade level that brings the most food gets a popcorn party, and then if we meet our campus goal, myself and the assistant principal are going to dress up next week. And this year, we're going to be deer. Last year, we were elves. This year, we're going to be deer. So guess what's coming from Amazon? My deer costume. So that'll be next Thursday. Or I'm sorry, next Wednesday. Right now, we, as well as some of the other campuses, are hosting our holiday guest readers. And many of you have signed up to do that, and we appreciate that. And that's in the library, and the kids love seeing a new face read those books. I'd like to highlight our grants. The Education Foundation awarded Lomax Elementary $14,878.32 in grants. Lomax Elementary has always been known for their grant writing abilities, and this year we received 13 grants that went out to 7 teachers. My kindergarten team got $8,000 alone. So I think they can probably run a grant workshop next year. A grant writing workshop next year. Our intervention efforts are in full swing as well. We are enjoying our ESSER 3 intervention edition, and we are, we're on the road to that 45-45, meeting those 30 hours for those students. And I get a report from my intervention team, and it looks like for most of my students that are there every day, we're about halfway through. So we're right on track on getting those students the extra intervention they need. The most exciting thing I'd like to share with you is a little risk I took this year, but it's working. I had a challenge. My first graders coming up to second, I had several that were not quite on grade level yet, but you cannot retain a whole lot of first graders. So I had a challenge. So what I did was I decided to do a transitional second grade class. It's very risky, but I tried it with Jewel Whitfield's support. So what I did was and for those of you who don't know, I used to be a reading specialist and a dyslexia specialist, so that's my passion and my love is early literacy. So what I did was I packed this class of 22 students, only 3 were coming in on grade level. Only 3 out of those 22 were coming in ready to read at second grade. Now what I did was I moved my best first grade reading teacher up to second. She wasn't real happy with me at first, but I told her my plan. I told her she could do it. I have been singing her praises all year. I give her whatever she wants. And we just had our RTIs today, and they turn in a tracker of how they're doing in reading. So remember, at the beginning of the year, only 3 students came in on grade level. Right now, she has 13 students at or above grade level, which is 59% of her class. And she has 6 students, which is 27%, that's only 1 level away from being a second grade reader. So we have made more than a year's growth with a lot of these students. I knew she could do it. She's finally taken a deep breath. She feels like a load has been lifted off of her shoulders, and I've got readers. So I'm real excited about that. So I took a risk, and it worked. So that's my highlights for Lomax Elementary. On behalf of our Lomax Lions, we'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Howdy. I know I don't look like Jose Lozano. Thank goodness. No, I'm kidding. I'm Janet Freeman. I'm his assistant principal, and I have had the utmost pleasure of being here this year. So I had to write mine out, and I'm actually just going to put on my cheaters here. So I just want to share a few amazing things that are going on at our school. First, we have some of the best interventionists, tutors, and teachers in the district. Okay, I may be a little biased, but they are working with small groups daily to meet the needs of all the students. Through their hard work, we are seeing both academic and behavioral improvements, both in and out of the classroom. In November, the students lined our driveways and 43 cars drove through for our Veterans Day parade honoring those that served our country. Our student council celebrated 45 unsung heroes, such as cafeteria workers, crossing guards, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, tutors, and special programs teachers, with a catered dinner, complete with drawings for prizes. We've also collected more than 250 toys and between 300 and 400 canned food items for the drives that help Fairmont Park Church with their outreach programs in the community. Thanks to the food collection, I may or may not have gotten to be a turkey. The culminating activity for the toy drive happens this Friday with a Whoville dance party for anyone that brought a toy to donate. And that evening, we're having goodies with the Grinch instead of supper with Santa. We thought we'd try the odd man outside this year. We know that that's going to be a huge success. And finally, I personally challenge teachers and staff to be on the lookout the week leading up to Thanksgiving break and the 3 weeks between that and Christmas break for students that are making good choices to be recognized with a positive office visit. This time of year can be very challenging, not only for the students, but for the professionals just to keep going. And we tend to focus on some of the negatives, so I wanted to challenge them to look for the positive. These visits include a phone call home, a trip to the treasure box, and a Be Your Best card. The phone calls have truly been the highlight of my day when I get to make them. We're looking forward to continuing this in the coming semester as we continue to build upon the positive climate at Rizzuto. I want to thank you for your time and wish you each a happy Christmas. No, that would be a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Maybe Jose wrote that one.
Thank you.
I want to know how many.
Hello, everybody.
Miss Freeman, I have a quick question.
Hey,
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
How many parents freak out when they get the call at first, only to find out that it's positive later?
100%.
Yes.
And that's one of the highlights. The kids are sitting in my office when I do it, and I tell them, tell Mr. Principal it's called.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I've had mamas cry on the phone.
I'm just thinking, as my boy mom days back in the day, I would have been like, oh my gosh, what?
What now?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, good morning, y'all, or afternoon, y'all, evening, whatever time of the day it is. This has been a long day, apparently. Okay, so at Baker, we started with a new vision this year. Our vision is that we're going to get 100% of our kids to transition successfully from elementary to secondary. We're their first experience with secondary. So we have done lots of different things. One of the things we're doing, one of our aspiring leaders is Trey Thompson, and he went to the TEPSA Grow Conference, and he came back talking about the coffee bean. And so we have created a coffee bean club. We have not told the kids yet that they are coffee beans, but we are setting this up where we're going to help them develop some leadership skills, become models for their other friends and classmates, and recognize these are nominated by teachers, students who may or may not be a honor roll, they may or may not be the top band person or choir person or whatever, but just the kids that we want to recognize for doing good things all the time. So that's getting started in January. We are in the middle of choir, band, and orchestra concert week. We have everything this week. We have choir last night, band tonight, orchestra tomorrow night. Focus is doing their Christmas market on Thursday, and then Friday we have a dance. It is a regular occurrence to have about 400 kids at the dance. It's quite fun, but we do stop traffic on the street with all the parents coming in, so just avoid Baker on Friday night. But it's fun. It's a great time. We have also looked at students' academics, and we are incorporating our tutoring into the day. So we have a day that we work on math, a day we work on reading, and a day we work on science for students who are having some of those educational gaps, and we need to fill those. Let me see. We have done watchdogs. We've had several dads in multiple times. We even have had a mom sign up. I don't think she's been in yet, but we have had a mom sign up. We had a family night. There was a superhero night. We had over 500 people there. It's the first time we've had everybody in a long time, and it was so much fun. We've done our VIPs, which is like Student of the Month at the elementary campus. We do it every 6 weeks. We've done the first and the second 6 weeks, and we have the third 6 weeks coming up. And then something that we're trying new this year is a mid-year awards ceremony. We've traditionally only done one at the end of the year, so we're going to do that in January when we come back, and we're going to recognize our A honor roll and our AB honor roll and our VIPs again, that kind of thing. I think that's all that I need to cover. I do want to tell you our
dance will benefit Blue Santa. So the students bring toys, and we usually go out with several trunk loads of toys to donate to Blue Santa. So thank you so much again for this time, and have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I typed mine also, so mine's a reader one. Good evening, board, and thank you for this time to share a little bit about LaPorte Junior High. LaPorte Junior High has been doing great things all year long. The first thing to discuss is our recent completion of our Fall into Fiction contest. This was a campus-wide initiative focusing on students completing books that they're reading. We did it over the first 3 weeks of November. Students were able to choose their own books. Then once they completed that book, they were shared a little information with their teachers, received a ticket to put into a drawing. We had 51 books completed with 47 students participating. All the students' names then went into the drawing, and we had some prizes, including a Buc-ee's grab bag was the grand prize. They really enjoyed that. The next thing is our focus on students that are achieving excellence on campus. The Friday before our Thanksgiving break, we had donuts with our A and AB honor roll students. That was 179 students, or about 1/3 of our student population qualified to have donuts with us. We also completed our top dog celebration this last Friday. Each teacher picks their own student that they think shows those qualities to be top dogs at LaPorte Junior High. The students get a lanyard and some snacks afterwards, and we have parents in the building enjoying that time with them. The last thing I would like to share with y'all, and the biggest thing that we've done so far, was yesterday we had our first Bullpup Winterfest family engagement event, and it went amazing. The building was decorated. All the halls had different themes. We had Santa. Officer Parsons was our Santa, our SRO. We had a couple Grinches. I had my bulldog there dressed up as Max. So we had the full Christmas scene going on. It was amazing seeing all the families there, walking the building, enjoying, just like I said, being LaPorte, being part of LaPorte, having them in the building and getting things back to normal. So thank you for our time, and y'all have an amazing holiday.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to start off by saying what a difference a year makes. Talking about Lomax Junior High, there's really a couple things that I really want to talk to you guys about and just kind of express just kind of how different it is. The thing that if you follow my Twitter feed or the Lomax Twitter feed that we talk about a lot is attendance. Last year when all the students came back, we were averaging about an 86% attendance rate on any given day. We're now consistently hitting 96%, so a 10 percentage point increase in attendance from one year to the next, which is an amazing number. To be honest, that's actually a little higher than we were before COVID even began. So the number of students coming each day, it's really, really amazing. I think the next thing that I really want to target is just kind of the job we've done this year at moving the bell curve. You know, whenever you look at student scores, it typically falls along a bell curve. The problem with last year is that our bell curve was further down the number line than where we wanted it to be. You know, one of the biggest areas of growth that we had that we need to have this year at Lomax is with our 7th grade math scores, as most of you are aware. The bell curve sat at around 50% on an average test score in 7th grade math last year. This year, we've moved that up to where the middle part of the bell curve is now around a 70-75%. So a 20 percentage point jump on the average score on any given test, kind of from one year to the next, depending on the test. So things we're really proud of the growth that we're making in those areas. One of the things that I want to target as to one of the reasons why that's happening is we did develop a program for during the school day. It happens on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's our Lobo time. Also going back to what some of the other principals talked about as far as student choice. We're using a program called Efficiency, where teachers get to set up a schedule of events of different targeted activities. So if a student needs help, and I'm just going to make this off the top of my head, I need help with polynomials in my 8th grade math class. They can go on Wednesday and pick a session with a teacher with a smaller group of students on just polynomials because they know they need that help. And so it provides that choice and that that drive of the students to not only know where they're struggling, but also take that upon themselves, that I know that I need to choose a session in that to get the help that I need. Now, I would love to say that every student always wants to pick the session that they need, but there are some students that we do have to help along and kind of provide some guidance. But it's definitely about giving them that opportunity to choose that. And then we also have sessions that if a student they're hitting all their marks, they have all their work turned in, we do have some fun sessions that they can sign up for as well during the day. We have a gardening club that meets a couple of days a month. We have a esports club that meets a couple times a month. And so they have that opportunity as well. So if they're taking care of their business, they're where they need to be, they have some other opportunities. So it's something we're really proud of and something that's going really, really well at Lomax. And the last thing that I want to talk about is we also had a book challenge this past November. Ours was called a Novel November. We did pretty well in that as well, and they are having a pizza party next week. So that is it. Everyone have an amazing holiday.
Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. Got your little handout. Just take a breath here. Thank y'all for this opportunity again. This fall has been just an amazing experience overall. Couple of things that I want to touch on. I've got a couple categories here. The restructure and reorganization of the campus, the plan that I came in with, initiated the change and continual development of learning environment that enables and encourages students' collaboration in finding that individual academic success. So we had a reprioritization, I reprioritized the teaching sections and added 15 additional teacher-taught academic classes. We did this COVID thing for a while. A big thing we learned is that works for some kids, but it does not replace that teacher-taught method that we need. So promotion of the campus culture that sets the expectation of consistent positive attendance on both the campus, getting to school, and then when you're at school, going to class. Academic celebrations. So happy to report that we had just over $8,000 awarded from the Education Foundation, and we're able to, these are projects that we'll be able to get started right away in the spring. So super excited about that. This means something to those that know about Edgenuity. We've already had 140 plus one more today course completions in Edgenuity for our students in that module. That's just a testament to the work that they put into to recover those credits or to accelerate those credits. We've got a lot of kids that want to graduate early. They've got plans, and some of them are definitely taking advantage of that. We've got 4 December graduates coming up. We would like to recognize those in January, so we'll talk more on that, but we're just really excited about those 4. We've got Sanjack. We had a Sanjack and financial aid night for our graduating seniors. And again, the goal there is just to have a plan, the emphasis on their post-secondary goals, and get them set up working towards that. Our community engagement opportunities. We worked with Dr. Upchurch and the Baker Buddies. We've got some select students that travel to her campus and work with some of her select students and go into a mentorship program to kind of bring them along. And I can't tell you all the stories that they come back with. They are just filled with just such a great experience to know that they're making an impact on someone else's life, a younger kid. We had a trunk or treat with our community that was a great success. We had a fall festival that was an opportunity to reward our students for their academic success at the end of the second 6 weeks. Bakota had a real neat deal. They had a escape the vape type escape room. So if you want to do something like that on your campuses, look them up. I'm sure they'd be happy to help. We started a Lunch with Leaders program with Frank Nance and some leaders within our community that come in and talk with our seniors. They sit down with them, they have lunch, they talk about their experiences, talk about the opportunities that they've had, hoping to just pass on some of that wisdom to them, get them inspired to what they're going to do next. We had a Friendsgiving celebration. This is kind of our Thanksgiving time. It's a time that we bring our teachers down and our staff members, and we have lunch, we commune with our students, and that was just a great success. I appreciate the help from Jeff and Debbie Wade that donated these gift bags to all of our students. Frank Nance, Jason Bailey, Jerry Dennis, Rick Helton. These are all folks that within our community that came into our campus met with our students, and they're just doing great things. I couldn't be more happy with the semester. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I hope you'll have a wonderful break and enjoy your Christmas. And again, thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to do what Grizel did and have a principal for the day program, but I was afraid they would suspend me and not give me the job back. So I voted against that. So, we're fortunate at the high school. You get to see a lot of the things we're doing. You see our athletic success. We've shared some academic successes over the semester. Still, great things are going on. We were able to have our Halloween carnival that we've had in the past. We were able to get that going again inside the building this year. We're having all our band concerts and orchestra concerts and so forth right now for the holidays. Christmas at the Barn is coming up soon. I hope you get to go out there and enjoy that. We have our endorsement and elective fair tomorrow night at the high school. Some things that just came to me today, or not today, over the last few days. We've had some success with our TAFE, which is our Future Educators Club. They've had some great success. And our academic decathlon team competed in their first tournament this weekend, and they beat Barbers Hill. So we're thrilled with how they're doing. So some great things continue to happen at the high school. We appreciate the fact that we have the coaches now. They've been helping with the academics, and we're really excited at what that's going to lead to. We've got intervention classes that we built into during the day. We have classes like Planet Earth and some reading classes for students who need to catch up and close those academic gaps. We built tutorials into the school day during our Bulldog period. We're also using the efficiency program like Dr. Griffin mentioned a moment ago that helps students select what teacher they want to go see during lunch. So it gives them, if they're having problems in math, they can choose that teacher. Again, we have some students that we guide where they need to be, especially for intervention for STAR and things like that, which we are testing this week, by the way, and so we've been working towards that. We had STAR blitzes that, as of even today, we were doing those as we test this week. One thing that I really want to emphasize real quickly is a thing that we put together called LaPorte High School Cares. And what we do on Monday afternoons, we meet. And any teacher, staff member, secretary, whoever can bring to us a name of a student that they have some concerns about, whether it be academics, whether it be social emotional needs, whether it be physical needs, whatever. And so we sit in a room and we talk about these kids. We have a group of principals and counselors, and we talk about these students, and we build a plan to intervene on behalf of that kid, whether it be attendance, like I say, or academics, or just family needs and so forth. So we're really pleased with where that's going. We hope that continues to grow. And then just to end, just proud to announce that over the first semester so far, we've had between 40 and 50% of our students make the AV honor roll. And so we're really excited, and we'll be celebrating over the coming weeks with those students. But again, great things are happening at LaPorte. We're proud of things that are happening at LaPorte High School. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Loudermilk came up handing out stuff. I feel like I should tell you to hold up your phone and I'll airdrop my notes to you. As you're aware, I am at the DAEP campus, and so we get to share the students from Carlin and Mr. Loudermilk. And so we get the kids that make the bad decisions and end up with us. And so closing gaps is one of the main things, and I'll go ahead and take this off, excuse me. Closing gaps is one of the main tasks that we're charged with as educators right now. And so at the DEAP campus, the teachers and aides are doing a lot of that right now, working to close those gaps. And I say that they're working to close the gaps just from an academic standpoint, but that also means behavior for us as well. So from an academic standpoint, our students, it's not just their current learning, but it's also they have an opportunity to go back and capture things that they have deficits in. And so when they finish an assignment or even finish a course, even Mr. Loudermilk talked about students who can regain credit in classes. Our students can do that too. If they work hard and get it done, they can go and look at and get another class that maybe they failed, and they can begin to work on it. But it's also about their individual effort when it comes down to that. And if they put forth that effort, they can really make strides. And some of them have. I've, just this past week or so, had a kid coming in asking about if I finish this or if I do this here, or can I work at home and do this? I'm like, if you're going to put forth that effort, absolutely you can. This is what we're here for. And as I stated, of course, Closing Gaps isn't just about the academic side, it's also about the behavior. My staff works really hard trying to make connections with students to get them to do a little bit more, but also to make better decisions, make better choices other than the ones that got them over with us. And so, yes, they've done something wrong, but we want them to know we still love them. We're going to love on them. We're going to give them everything they need. We encourage them to make sure that they're there, because we can't help you if you're not here. And there are some who have taken us up to that on that. And I'm happy to say there are a couple of kids who have rarely missed, or if they did miss, it was because of a doctor's appointment or something like that. But they're constantly there. One of the things I want to mention, I forgot who it was. I think it was Dr. Upchurch that mentioned the coffee bean. I have one of the aspiring leaders on my campus also who was excited coming back from that workshop and shared the story, Damon West's story. If you're not familiar with Damon West, Google Damon West and the coffee bean. And she came back and literally went through, and during our passing periods in the hallway, kind of reading pieces of that story to our students to let them absorb that. But then also, there's an interview that's online that's popular that someone did with him, and he shared that story. And we got all the kids in one place and let them view that, and then had a discussion with them about it. Lastly, one of the things I do want to share with you that's really a highlight of the semester, if you will. We had at least 3 of our students who came in that were very volatile students. And I'm happy to say that one of them, big difference between when she came in and when she left. There was a lot of work put in, not only by my staff on my campus, but also by district personnel. Ms. Zabrowski, Mr. Odom, Ms. Britton. I mean, this young lady probably has visited with every adult on my campus, as well as about 4 or 5 outside of my campus. But to that end, it was great to see this student before she left smiling, laughing, and you didn't see that. She does not have the adult outside of here that our kids need, and so it really is about the adults in the building or in the district pouring into her, and she didn't really trust us at first. But yet still, we still have to push and provide her what she needs. And it was good to see her laugh, smile, and make great strides. And she has returned to the high school, and hopefully she was doing well. And so that was definitely a highlight for us. Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas to you all, and have a great week.
Thank you.
So thank you, principals, for your updates. I think, board, as you can see, that there's a lot of great things going on, and I would have never been able to share and summarize that in my superintendent's report. So thank you all one more time for what you do on those campuses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Jackson, I had a question, but I do want to thank you for allowing them to come and give those presentations, because hearing all these amazing things going on in the district makes me proud to be a Bulldog, certainly part of the LPIC family. I did have one question that I've getting calls on, primarily from my 7-year-old.
Sure.
I promised him I'd ask you this. With things getting back more of a normal, he's desperate to know when his dad can come and have parents eat lunch with the elementary kids.
We'll have an answer for you when we get back in the spring. Okay?
Thank you.
And so you might like the answer. I say we'll have an answer
All
for
right.
you.
He told me his buddies in Deer Park, they're getting to go eat lunch with their kids.
But we're planning, we got a plan for that. Okay? At this time, we'll ask Dr. Linda Watley to come, and part of my report, she's going to share some information about board goals and a review and an update.
Thank you. And thank you, principals. That was wonderful. It's always fantastic to be reminded what we're all about. So that was wonderful. And I just wish I could read off my phone without my glasses. I have to have large print and cheap. So that's telling you something. Oh, goodness gracious. And of course, I have PowerPoint. Okay, just gonna not restart on me. Uh-oh. I'm trying to hide it. This would happen. I did. Oh, my goodness. Huh?
That means you gotta talk fast, Linda.
Okay, well, you know what? I don't even have to, I don't have to have it up for you guys.
Click on your PowerPoint and just start it.
But it's, oh, and it didn't, okay, it's just on my screen. That's okay, because I've got a copy. Okay. Good evening, as I start again, okay. And you all do have a copy as well. As Dr. Jackson said, tonight we will be reviewing our approved HB 3, House Bill 3 board goals, and would like to share with you where we stand with our year-long targets, but also want to just open it up for you all to be able to ask questions, to provide comments, input, suggestions. It's really just a conversation. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, I'm just going to talk from here.
Eddie, can you give us some help here?
Something's not working. You need to just restart it.
Go ahead, Linda.
No, the arrow won't do it. Oh, okay, okay. Eddie, somebody just come up and do this presentation for me. Clearly, I'm having a tough time. Okay. I will. Now I'm going to have to start really talking. So, as a general overview. Okay, settle down now. I'm kidding. Get everybody back in order. So, when the board approved the goals last December, half of you all weren't here. And so I know when you received that document, that overview that I gave you last week, you probably were thinking, what in the world is all of this information? It probably sounded like grief. But anyway, a general overview of the HB3 board goals is that boards are required to adopt plans to achieve goals in 2 areas: early childhood literacy and mathematics, and also college, career, and military readiness. We are supposed to set specific quantifiable annual goals for 5 years, not only for the district, but each campus. So when we're talking early literacy, that's the 7 elementary schools, and when we're talking college, career, military readiness, CCMR, we're talking about the high school and the Academy of Viola DeWall. So we have on our district website, because it is to be annually reviewed and posted on the website, we have not only the district's plan, but also every elementary and the 2 high schools plan. And one of the things that I wanted to share kind of right off the bat that we discovered as we were annually reviewing now, because it's been a year in, and we're looking at end-of-year data from the end of 2021, we're going to recommend that when we do this process next year for year 2, we probably do it like in September, when the data's fresh but that's just.
And if we have all of that data.
And we will likely, but if we, we'll certainly do it. We just feel like we could maybe do it before December. Okay. All righty. So here are our 3 board goals. Board goal 1 is to increase the percentage of 3rd grade students that score meets grade level or above on STAR reading from 53% to 65% by 2005. And I'm going to drill down into each of these goals and the progress measures. I'm just going to review them right now. Goal 2, LaPorte ISD will increase the percentage of 3rd grade students that score meets grade level or above on STAR Math from 50% to 65% by 2025. And let me also just point out that when we're talking about meets grade level, we're not talking about just passing. Passing the test is at the approaches grade level, but master's grade level is a higher standard. It's a higher performance standard. And then our 3rd goal is that LaPorte ISD will increase the percentage of graduates that are college, career, or military ready CCMR from 57% to 75% by 2025. So we're just going to take a little dive into each of the goals and the progress measures. But stop me at any time if you've got a question. Okay, so goal 1, we've read that. It is star reading meets from 53%. Now I will tell you, the 53% at meets grade level, which was our baseline, came from 2019. All right? And the reason why it came from 2019 is because in 2020, when we were doing what we were doing, we had no star. There were no star assessments in the spring of 2020. The agency canceled all assessments. So our baseline for star is pre-COVID, right? Because we skipped that year. So essentially what we did was we set our targets at 65%. We had studied the TEA 60 by 30 plan. That is, it's aligned to a higher education plan where by 2030 we want 60% of our 60% of our third graders meets grade level by 2030. But ours was just a 5-year target, and we wanted to increase that and go beyond 60%. So that's why we selected the 65. I hope that makes sense. I probably didn't articulate that very well. And then we just set our increments out from here. So in the spring, that very first column, 2021, end of year, EOY stands for end of year, our third graders achieved 44% at meets grade level or above. We did not hit the target of 55%, but we still feel like the 65% target in year 5 is doable. And you have heard from all of the elementary principals a lot of the great things that are taking place on the campuses with the support of the coaches and with the interventionists. So we feel optimistic that we'll be able to reach that target. So progress measures. So what the progress measures do, it's taking each of the grade levels that precede third grade, and we're focusing on specific measures that will build toward that third grade star reading and supporting the students' performance at meets grade level. So pre-K, the progress measure that we used, or the assessment that we used, was Circle Progress Measure, the CPM. At kindergarten, we used the Texas KIA, and at grades 1 and 2, we used TPRI. Now, one thing that I will share that's really pretty significant is that all 3 of these are new assessments to LaPorte ISD. We had not administered them prior to last school year, but they were also brand new assessments from TEA. They were on the commissioner's new list of approved assessments. So we didn't have any baseline data coming into this process last year when we started developing these goals. So we looked at the beginning of the year data as opposed to, the end of the year data from the prior year, which is ideally what you want to look at because you've had a year's worth of teaching and learning. So for pre-K, for the CPM, our year 1 target was 88%, and our actual end of year was 73%. We're going to drill into that a little more, and I will explain that to you. For the Texas KIA, our year 1 target was 84%, and our end of year was 79%. And our TPRI, that's a combination of first and second grade, our year 1 target was 58%, and our end of year was 67%. And so obviously that far exceeded the target, and so we have some recommendations there. Okay. So, for the pre-K CPM, what you all approved last December is that the percent of pre-kindergarten students that score on track in phonemic awareness on the CPM will increase from 87.7% to 92% in June. So down below, you will see that we have made a recommendation. And that recommendation is to shift the baseline to how the kids actually performed at the end of last school year. Now, we can keep the 2021 88 through 92. However, the issue with that is that the test gets a little more difficult as the year goes on, and so we really feel like the end of the year performance is really more representative of the learning.
Dr. Wadley, does
Yes.
that require a separate board vote, since it's not an action item tonight, but?
We're just,
I-
we're just
I-
talking.
I know, but I
Yes.
mean, if the
Yeah, we
board
would
showed
bring
you
it
back
to you.
then,
We would
okay.
bring it back to you for an action item.
Okay.
Dr. Walt, what happens if, because again, I apologize, this is kind of foreign language, but still, if we don't hit those metrics, what happens? Like, if we don't approve the new recommendation and
This does not have any relationship to accountability.
This is not an accountability piece. These are aggressive goals that you, as a board, say, here's where we want to be going. Now, clearly, if we're meeting these targets, it's helping our accountability, and that's the goal, is that it supports what we're doing. You heard a lot of the principals talk about the literacy and early literacy plans, but we have to go and think about, prior to 2 years ago, even before COVID, we had kids with lots of issues. But since that time, we've got so many gaps that we're trying to fill. It's just really hard to put a true target there and say, you know, that we want to make this aggressive goal. And so that's one of the reasons why we have a different recommendation here, because we are dealing with lots of gaps here.
Well, and this is another example, and Ms. Whitfield is our early childhood expert. But what she was explaining to me, like in pre-K, for example, at the beginning of the year with this phonemic awareness, is this the rhyming, Jewel?
You can use
Okay.
an example.
Okay, I'm going to use her example. So kids in pre-K at the beginning of the year might be doing rhyming words like cat and hat. And then by the end of the year, it's a little more sophisticated to where they're having to identify rhyming words like stain and pain. And for a 4 to 5 year old, you know, cat and hat is a little easier skill. And when we were looking at our baseline data, because keep in mind, we didn't have any data before we started this process, so we had to use the beginning of the year data. But we can keep it the same. I mean, we're just.
These are
what-
recommendations.
Where we're going with it is that here on out, now that we have end of the year data, we'll always be looking at end of the year data. But we started our baseline and our first year target with the beginning of the year data. That may sound like group, but.
Well, and also, if I may say, Linda, we don't want to have goals so low that we easily reach them, but we also don't want to have goals so high that they stretch us to the place that we're not getting to them.
Right.
But again, this has nothing to do with STAR EOC and the letter grade that the TEA is going to place on the district. We're principals and we're all working towards those things. These goals are to help us to reach those goals, especially when you're talking about early math and early literacy.
Dr. Wadley,
Yes.
so on this particular goal,
Uh-huh.
where we started at, the 87.7, you're
Uh-huh.
saying that was a beginning of the year number?
Yes, it was. It was the beginning of the year number, and Jewel, if you want to stand beside me, if there's any, yes, it was. So that was the beginning of the year, our pre-kindergartners before any instruction.
Okay.
So when you think about the testing, you have 3 cycles, and with the commissioner's approved list, all of the CLI Engage platform assessments use waves. So if you think of it in terms of beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year, things that you test at the beginning of the year are not necessarily what you would test at the end of the year, when there should have been some progression, some growth that you expect. So when I get to the end of the year, I should be reading, or I should be performing at a higher level than where I started from. Does that make sense? So my testing at the beginning of the year is typically lower. I'm not asking you to do those things that I would ask you to do at the end of the year, at the beginning of the school year. So when we started, the commissioner's approved list started in the fall of 2020. So when we developed these, all we had was our beginning of the year data. We had not completed a testing cycle, which would have yielded beginning, middle, and end of the year results, so that we could look at those end of the year results. So when you think of STAR or you think of CCMR, those are all cumulative end of year assessments, whereas as we started this process, the only thing we had, and the commissioner says, you shall or you must use these assessments, all we had was the beginning of the year. So as we move through the cycle of a school year, and whether it's pre-K, and Dr. Wiley will get to kindergarten shortly, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, we didn't have any of that data to fall back on, to utilize sort of with STAR and say, from 2019, here's where we were. There was nothing there for us, so we kind of used what we had, knowing that that was the beginning of the year, but we knew at the end of the year there should be some growth. So we should see where our children grow, and we know the rigor of that assessment it's more rigorous and strenuous at the end of the year as opposed to the beginning of the school year.
So now we can really refine our goals to be even
And
more
that's-
of a SMART goal, because we have better data.
And to your point, Mr. Martin, so when we think in terms of our progress measures, and this is kind of how Linda and I had to talk about it. So you have the 3 board goals. Those are the goals. So if you ask yourself, what are we doing in order to accomplish those goals? Those are all the progress measures. And so I'm working on, for example, phonemic awareness in pre-K. In first grade, we're looking at your kindergarten, we're looking at your listening comprehension. First and second grade, it's your reading comprehension. All of those play into that final comprehension of the goal, which is third grade reading meets performance. So these progress measures are things that we impose on ourselves to say, hey, we want our children performing here, so that we help support that goal, which is board goal 1, to move forward. And I had to think of it in terms that way too, because I'm thinking, how does this benefit, and where does it all fall in place? And for me, it was the progress measures support the goals that you've approved. And so the progress measures are those things that our teachers do daily, the diagnostic information. This is where I need to work with Linda. This is where I need to work with Jewel. This is where I need to work with Mr. Yonda. These are the skills specifically that I need to address with this student, so that I can get to board goal 1, which is that third grade STAR performance on reading that we're looking for in board goal 1.
So you stay right here.
Okay.
So,
She's going to use you now.
I'm going to use her.
No problem.
So, in kinder, same situation as pre-K. We didn't have the end of year data, but here's another factor that we would like for you to consider. You all approved kindergarten students scoring on track on the literacy screener on the Texas PIA. Okay, the literacy screener only occurs at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, it's listening comprehension. And that's the final overall. So that's, we really need to be with listening comprehension
At the end of the year.
regardless, at the end of the year. So this isn't as big of a gap. We originally, the kids on the literacy screener in kinder last fall scored 83.6, and we stepped out the targets to reach 88. For the recommended, we kept the 88. We just adjusted the first year target to be what really is kind of our new baseline based on this listening comprehension. And again, we can keep it at 84. That's not a problem. But we really do need to change the actual measure to listening comprehension, because we now are at an end of the year cycle. And the literacy screener isn't an option, but that was the only option we had
At the time.
That was the
last
information
fall.
we had in the fall,
Yeah.
right?
At the time, yeah.
So again, you know, we did not change we didn't recommend a change to the target, we just tweaked that 2021. But again, it can stay as is. There's not a problem there. And then,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
You-
Go ahead. No.
Sorry.
Go.
I'm probably going to have to be tutored on this before it's
Yeah.
over with,
No,
because now I'm hearing you say, I didn't hear you say this a few
Yeah.
minutes ago, but
Okay.
now I'm hearing you say that it's really only the 2021 base number that's concerning you. But I didn't hear that when you talked about the last slide. So if you're willing to leave it the same except for 2020, I mean, are we
no,
going for a base? What do we?
So, we can keep pre-K the same as well, okay? So the kids at the beginning of the year, when they were tested on phonemic awareness before they'd had any instruction, they scored 87.7%. As the year progressed and they had instruction and this adaptive test got a little harder, at the end of the year, they scored a 73%. That's just where they were. I mean, in 2001,
Spring of
2021,
2001.
last spring, we scored a 73%. So we didn't meet that 88 target, but again, that 88 target was based on that
Beginning of the
beginning
year.
of the year, how the kids did at the beginning of the year before they had any
Well, and
instruction.
not all of those students were in class, and not all of those students were, not all of the students were in class, not all of the students were in front of instructor, didn't have assistants, a lot of that was what was happening at that time. So, you, depending on when they actually came back into class, determined whether or not they had the instruction to be able to advance.
That's an excellent point. That is- and that-
Okay, I have two questions.
Okay,
I
yes,
think.
okay.
And to me, they're simple questions.
No.
But the first one is, okay, I guess I'm going to lose it here, just a minute. What difference does it make on the bottom line for us to change it? That's one question. The second question is, I heard all these principals, and I agree with them from the little bit that I know, that what Dr. Jackson has added to the staff, the intervention, all of this, what's wrong with going for it and taking the chance?
There's nothing. There
It's just,
is
we
nothing.
may not, there are gonna be places where we may not reach the
The goal.
goals that you set as a board, or we set as a board together. Board team of 8.
My
Does it
issue,
I'm sorry, does it impact instructional pressure? Like, do they have additional pressures on them to meet our goals? Is that a correlation?
Well, what I'll say is that at the end of the school year, beginning of the school year, middle of the school year, and end of the school year, the teachers get the results from all of the assessments, whether they're kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. And so our principals hold what we consider or call PLC meetings, meetings where you review data and you talk about student performance. And within that environment, they are pulling up by name student. You know, here's Jules' report. Jules scored this at the beginning of the year. Here's her middle of the year score. What are we doing to support Jewel at this point? To your point, Ms. Green, what are we doing to support Jewel? And so if the teacher feels pressure, it's how to help Jewel and what do we do together collectively. We bring in the ESSER interventionists. We schedule that student in to see them. We have the tutorer come in. And so that's what this data is really used for. And the purpose of it, again, is these are diagnostic assessments. So that's when I was bringing it back to individual students. It's not meant to be like a star that's going to give you this cumulative for how 3rd grade performs. When we talk about these progress measures, we are really honing in on student performance and how we're helping individual students meet our overall goal. And to do that, we've got to talk kid level, which is what you're saying. How will it impact them?
So, and just another thing I might add to your question, if we had not been in a situation where last year was the first year we had administered these assessments. I mean, it just was. But we had administered them the year before, because we had been administering the MAP test. We had some other tests that we had been administering.
That didn't make the list.
That didn't make the list.
Mm-hmm.
We would have used that end of year score as our baseline. But because what we were using before, plus we were, but we still administered, like we still did the MAP test when kids were out, learning virtually. But because we could not, because what we used for literacy wasn't on the commissioner's approved list, we had to go with the beginning of the year. But we can keep it 87.7. It's just it's not really like when we talk about STAR, that's at the end of the year. When we talk about CCMR, that's at the end of the year. That's the only.
And so, and you're, both of you are correct. And so to just go a little further, Ms. Green, the HB3 goals was the commissioner's way of getting boards back in the getting their hands back into the let's make set goals for this school district and for the curriculum. Thank you. We can leave them as they are, but we wanted to have reasonable goals so that at least we could stand before you each year when we give you an update, and if we didn't meet it, we knew exactly why we didn't meet it. But right now, we're still trying to truly align all of the testing measurements that they're giving us with the systems that we have, given with all of the other things that have gone on in the last 2 years. And so we were just trying to give an update as to where we are, and if you wanted to increase those goals or keep them as they are, just let us know.
Yeah.
Well,
We
for
just
me-
want them to be authentic as possible and organic as possible so that we can say we've done everything we can to reach those goals, but here's why we think we're not meeting those goals.
Just so you know, I think you all know this, I don't even need to tell you. My personal concern, has really, long before HB3 came along, we've never addressed that. And I questioned that with you. And I don't know how, I mean, this is how our first stab at it, but I think we are overdue as a district, as a board, we're overdue focusing on our student progress. And that's our fault. Because, I mean, y'all are the educators, and we, we're going along and everything appears to be okay, and then boom, social studies scores go in the basement, and then boom, we have, used to be reading used to just blow everybody out of the water, and we're not. So I just want to be sure that we make a little change that we haven't had for a really long time, and that's to focus on student progress. And we got a great start. So everything in me just screams, why do I want to drop the number?
Yeah.
But you guys are the experts, and I will definitely defer to that, as long as you know that for me, I just think we're overdue at trying to focus on that particular thing. The heck with House Bill 3.
Right.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, if not for House Bill 3, we probably wouldn't be having this deep of a conversation about those goals right now.
Well, you're probably right.
That was the whole purpose of this, right? If maybe we wouldn't be having this deep of a conversation anywhere in any Texas public schools at board meetings right now about these types of stretch goals, because what they are, they're stretching us a little bit, right? And so to me, kudos to us that we're having these conversations and that we're willing to kind of be a little, out there and, and share our vulnerabilities and where we are. We're just basically saying we're trying to really take some time to align all of these things and make certain that we get all our students in the right roles, because there's been so many things that happened in the last 2 years. And we're not making excuses. We're just saying
No, it's
it's
a
going to
fact.
take some time for us to realign all of these systems by which they're being measured, right? And now we have new systems by which they are being taught. We've got interventionists, we've got coaches, we've got all kinds of folks that are really giving supports to our campuses. And so I say to this board, kudos to you and to us as a school district. We're having this conversation. I can tell you there are some schools districts that are not having these kinds of conversations. It's very superficial, and and they'll just leave it alone. Because I don't want to go around trying to out anybody.
Your part.
Well, and this is complicated stuff. I mean, just putting together the document that I sent you last week, I mean, it's not easy to communicate. Because these assessments, these diagnostic assessments were new, like this one, the literacy screener is just at the beginning of the year. We don't want that to be for the end of the year because it doesn't exist. We really need to be looking at listening comprehension. If we keep it at 84, or 83.6, that's not the listening comprehension. That's the literacy screener. So then you've got incongruent data. You've got a subtest of this diagnostic test that is not that the numbers aren't really fully represented.
So I think overall, what we're saying is, as we look at the assessments that we have identified, the subtest is really what we're wanting to hone in on for the end of year results. So for example, as we look at the screen in the kindergarten test, for example, we were looking at the literacy screener and it provided an on-track information for us at the beginning of the year. What we found is that we want to know how well our students are comprehending, because that third grade STAR test, which is actually your goal, not your progress measure, that STAR test is going to measure your comprehension and its individual reading comprehension, and we want to know how well you can meet that performance area. And so what we're really proposing is, as Dr. Wadley has highlighted in yellow, is really to hone in on those targeted skills that align more so with that overall goal outcome of reading comprehension for our third graders. That's an individualized test. So if that makes any sense for you, then we can.
Okay.
I guess what I'm struggling with is,
sorry.
and I'll try to be quick, is I guess regardless of whatever we set our percentage, our goals at, when you guys talk about, you said you want to see growth over the year. And I guess the way my brain looks at this is that you start with a number and it goes down. And in the case of pre-K, it went down pretty substantial. So I guess my question is, have we identified why is it regressing? And what are we doing about that, regardless of what we set the new? Because I'm with Kathy, I'm like, I don't understand. I guess if we're just going to set it down because they didn't go as expected, we're giving them a lower baseline. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I don't know if I understand that correctly. But what I am seeing is that it's coming down in spite of having instructional aids and different things that you were talking about. It's still going down. So what are we doing to address that?
So, for example, at the pre-K level, one of the things that we implemented this year was we adopted the new pre-kindergarten curriculum. And so we have our new coach that is working with our early literacy. It's Ms. Halberdier. And so she's working with our pre-kindergarten teachers on their new curriculum that was adopted this year. So they've implemented that. So we should see some improvements based on that. We just got to get through this new curriculum this year that they're implementing at that level, because those are the things that we're targeting in that new curriculum area. And that was really one of the reasons our pre-K teachers selected it.
Joel, do you really think that, and I'm sure you do, but do you really think that along with the end of the year test being more rigorous than how you assess the student at the first, is that the answer to what that gap is from?
I think
I'm rounding from 88 to 73.
I think a couple of things with pre-K, and our pre-K campuses can probably tell you. There's a couple things that the data doesn't tell you about pre-K. The data doesn't tell you that the majority of our students who are highly mobile are in pre-K. So the subset of kids that you might have tested at the beginning of the year might not all be the same kids at the end of the year. So Linda is here at the beginning of the year, and she takes that test. We have her counted in this number. Linda was on track. Linda moved away. Somebody either filled Linda's spot or they didn't fill Linda's spots. And if they did fill it, maybe they didn't get the on track again. So now, what did that just do? Now you have one less student who's performing on track. Pre-K is that moving year where, and the other part to the year, Mr. Martin, is last school year was the lowest year we've experienced for pre-kindergarten enrollment as well. So there was a lot of things that, again, this slide doesn't tell you about the historical information about pre-K, but we had low enrollment. Kids were leaving us. Parents would call and say, what happens, Ms. Whitfield, if I pull my kid, I'm just not feeling safe about them. I hear pre-K is not required in the state, you know, those kinds of things. We tried to keep them as best as we can, Ms. Hyde and Ms. Whitlock and I, in our system, but that's where we,
I think that's what
where
I'm
it
struggling
was.
with, so, and I apologize. I was equating end of year to like this year, end of year,
Right,
but
so-
you're saying it's from last May.
This is this
Yes,
is last school year. This is not this school year.
And I was
That
gonna-
helps, yeah, that makes a lot more
with
sense.
the fact that I have actually children in this age group right here,
Mhm.
that fell in with the categories of pre-K. So my daughter started November last year with pre-K, and so she was tested end of the year, but she wasn't there for the beginning of the year. This year, she's been tested at the beginning of the year, so she will have a follow-up because she's still not finishing.
Yes, she
And
is.
then I had a first grader who started the online schooling at the end of 2020, started online schooling at the beginning of
2021, 2021, yes, ma'am.
But then went in, so her assessments and things have also, she's now in third grade, and we're gradually moving back to where she was during all of that. So I understand the adjustments if everybody is like my child. So obviously not everybody is, but it makes sense to me when you explained it. So.
Dr. Watley, hit the adjustments recommendations
Okay.
that you might have. for the
Okay,
board.
sure. So then, so kinder, we talked about the listening comprehension as opposed to the literacy screener. In first grade, as opposed to being developed in word reading, it is on track for reading comprehension. Okay, and that's another end of the year subset. Now, in this particular assessment with the TPRI, we far exceeded our five-year target. You know, we were 47.4%, and our increments went to 52%. Our end of the year, our combined first and second graders, more schooling, more instruction, they were at 67%, so we had to adjust those targets. They had to be adjusted upward.
Right.
Okay? So I'm just going to hit the highlights, as Dr. Jackson mentioned. Okay, so mathematics, so remember, the baseline of 50 for STAR math, 50%, that was STAR 2019. That's the percentage of third graders that scored meets grade level or above, not passing, the higher passing standard in 2019. Okay, so, and we wanted to be at 65%, 5 percentage points higher than the 60 by 30 plan. Okay, at the end of last year, 2021, our third graders meets grade level was at 41%. We're not changing anything. We didn't meet the target of 50, but we're keeping our targets the same. So really no change there, okay? All right, so these are our three progress measures, Circle CPM, Texas Kia, but for math, first and second grade, we use MAP. And you can see that missed the target for pre-K, exceeded the target with kinder, and we were lower on MAP. I'll explain that. Let's see, we really weren't changing anything here. No change for pre-K. Okay, so I didn't highlight the, what did we do on this one? I don't have a highlight on it.
Because you're this is where you wanted to. Gotta get this.
But we changed this.
Right here, the goal. So you go from 62.7 to 75.
Oh, okay.
So our recommendation is to go higher because we did a better job.
Okay, but I should have changed this one. I should have changed that
Oh, to
62.7. I
6.7.
confused myself, because I think that baseline is not right. It should be 71. So on this recommended, right here, on your slide,
Slide 6, page 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You'll go
I was
to
looking at that,
2021, yeah.
that wasn't working for me there.
2021
Math.
year.
Yes.
Math
Okay.
should be 71 to 75.
Okay, yes, I have that, and I'll make that correction and make sure you will have that corrected. So they did better, so we needed to increase it, okay? And then for MAP, grades 1 and 2, we did not change the 5-year target, we just spread the increments out. So, we didn't meet the target, but again, so with MAP's looking at student achievement levels, and it's another test where it's the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. There are fall norms, when kids really haven't had a lot of instruction, and then there are spring norms that are more rigorous. And so, anyway, we're really not recommending a change there. Okay, so that is early childhood reading and math, and I think I can go through CCMR a little faster than any other. Maybe it's
Maybe.
easier to understand.
I'll stand for support.
She can stand for support. Okay, let me get back to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I think your notes are covered up by that.
Well, my notes
That's
are
why you're-
covered up
yeah.
by this, your computer is about to restart, that makes me a little nervous. Okay, let me get to CCMR. Okay, so LaPorte ISD will increase the percentage of graduates that are college, career, military ready from 57% to 75% by 2025. This also lags behind. So the 57% came from our 2019 accountability, and the 57% represented the class of 2018, okay? That was end of the year, so that's what our CCMR percent was 57%. And we wanted to get to 75%. All right, so we stepped that out for our first, second, third, fourth, and fifth year targets, 75. Well, guess what? For our 2020 accountability that we really didn't get, we didn't get a 2020 accountability, but we did get confidential figures for CCMR, and it was 77%, 76.6%. Now, that is great. I mean, it's wonderful. That's wonderful news. And the way that a graduate meets this indicator is if they achieve one of 11 criteria.
Right.
Okay? There are 2 criteria that this accountability year that we're going to be getting shortly that are going away. And I mentioned this last year because, Mr. Murdoch, I remember us having a conversation. We knew that military enlistment was going away. We still promote that. We're all about that. It's no longer a factor in the accountability calculation. Another indicator they removed is the career technical education, the CTE coherent sequence. That's where kids take these courses that lead to an industry certification. And between the 2 of them, about 20% of our graduates met one of those 2 criteria. That's gone away, okay? So what we know this next year is that we're not going to be 76.6%. So we're not recommending that we change any of our targets, but while it's a wonderful celebration that our class of 2019 hit 77%, our class of 2020, our COVID kids, our graduates that did not get an opportunity to take or retake SAT as seniors, it's just going to go, it will go down. And we'll have that data to present to you probably this next month or so. So this just says that there were changes. We knew that military enlistment was excluded. We knew that the coherent sequence was removed. To just focus on industry-based certs. There's talk that it might get reinstituted in some iteration, but, you know, it hasn't for now. So, again, there had to be 3 progress measures, okay? Just like there were 3 progress measures with reading and math with the early childhood. So Texas Success Initiative criteria, that's one of them. And for our class of 2019, our original target for 2021 was 33%. You know, we exceeded it. It will drop down a little bit, but we feel like we should continue to, we recommend that we just keep this target. And what this TSI includes, it includes how students did on the TSIA, which is the Texas Success Initiative Assessment in reading and math. It includes SAT scores, and any credit they earn from a college prep course. Okay, the second progress measure that was approved was our industry-based certifications. And we knew this was an area that we needed to work on, and we will continue to work on. Because we started out at 1%, we had our first year target at 3, going up to 15. Our actual was 7%, so we still feel like 15% is a attainable target. So no recommendation there. Okay, but here we go with the coherent sequence. This indicator doesn't exist anymore. So regardless, we're going to have to come up with another indicator unless we want to just go with 2 progress measures, and I don't think we want to go with 2 progress measures because we do have some indicators that we can work on. So what I had shared with you earlier, here are some thoughts, and we have some thoughts as well. This first one is a college indicator, and it's if a student meets criteria on an AP exam, could also be IB, but we don't do IB. So meets criteria on advanced placement exam. So you meet criteria in any subject. That's a goal for us. We're working actively on that. It's in our district improvement plan, our campus improvement plan. We've got a lot of kids that take AP classes. So, you know, we've got a decent denominator, and that might be a good replacement for the coherent sequence. These other 2 address special education students. And so we haven't really had any progress measures specifically geared toward our SPED students. And I'm by no means an expert in this area, but I feel like we could probably make the most impact if we went with our AP exams. But at your pleasure, if you have any questions, and Cindy's here, she can answer any questions if you had anything specific about the graduate with completed IEP and workforce readiness, or graduating under an advanced diploma plan. We could go with.
My question is, if our graduation rate is at 93%, and last year the CMR was at 77%, so that's a 16% gap, why is there such a difference? And which metric should we be paying closer attention to? Because in the past, the old superintendent would go and preach, like, our graduation rate, that's all we ever talked about. He never talked about the CCMR.
Right.
And we're like, man, that's great. We're in the mid 90s with graduation. But I guess as I'm reading it now, is that saying that 16% of these kids aren't ready to go to college or start a career? Or I guess, what is that telling us if it's 16% less, I guess is my question.
Well, you know, in all honesty, it is saying that of that 77%, that there was a percentage of our kids that did not either meet the score on the TSI reading or math, or if they weren't in an AP class, they didn't get that. If they didn't take dual credit, I mean, the agency has come up with this set of criteria that they deem defines whether a kid is CCMR ready, if they're college, career, military ready.
Can those kids, though, that didn't get those certain points, if you will, can they still get into college?
Yes.
So how's, I mean, this seems kind of like a ridiculous metric.
For example, they'll take like a developmental reading class, a developmental math class before.
I'm not an Aggie,
they
I'm
can take.
slow.
No, but they do. That's a good question.
It is.
They still can go.
It's two measures by which we look at kids, and we're being forced to do that because that's the agency expects of us. But we understand that students that graduate from high school, they're still, Jill talked about pre-K, but there's maturation issues with kids, and some kids are not ready to be in school to take college level course. But that doesn't mean that they didn't satisfy all of the rigorous requirements that we have to graduate with a high school diploma. So I'm just being honest with you. I don't think one trumps the other. You know, there are some kids, we're glad that they graduated. We're very proud of them. We're happy for them. But then there are some kids that get to a whole nother level and can go on and do other things. And it doesn't say that those kids that are graduating from high school will never be successful like that. Because there are maturation issues that kids deal with.
Yes.
Make it quick, please.
Come to the screen.
I was going to say, one of the other things to remember is that even the coherent sequence that's falling off, we only got half credit for those kids. So if you actually look at the number of kids, there would be more that met that metric, but we only got half credit for it. So I just want you to take that into account.
That's an excellent question.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm hearing is, like, I was concerned like these kids aren't ready, but they're not saying that. They're meeting our standards to graduate. So they are capable, they can go to work, they can go get certifications, they go to college. So I guess for me personally, I put more stock in the graduation rate.
Yes.
I guess, right? Thank you, though.
No, that's right. So we will have to come back to this, unless there's a feeling, a strong feeling one way or the other.
Did you see Carlin waving at you?
Do you have any recommendations?
You have
I defer to you guys.
I think
Whatever
our
you think
feeling
is
is.
No,
Carl, did you want to share something?
To answer his question just a little bit about, I think the reason Mark brought this on, a lot of it was when there was a problem with students who were graduating high school having to take remedial courses at the college level. Especially, if you don't meet certain criteria, then you've got to take that, I don't know what they call it, but if you take a college math course, it's no credit, you have to pay for it, but it just has to get you ready for college algebra. And so that's was not a Port problem, not a Texas problem. It's really a nationwide problem, I would think. And this is trying to address that, I think, is where this probably originated from.
Gotcha.
So, just looking back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I think the recommendations in yellow that you have on here, I think, our starting point should be authentic. Not what we thought it was or what we thought it was gonna be or what it was. And I definitely think on the kindergarten, that listening comprehension, if that's what we're going to test them on, then that needs to be what the number is on the goal. On the progress measure, I should say, not the goal.
Okay.
So.
So we have a voice on direction.
Be more authentic.
Direction board, do y'all okay with that kind of recommendation to Dr. Worley, or?
Now, as far as what's gonna take the place of coherent sequence on the project measure, I'm gonna leave that to you masterminds to figure out which one would best benefit our students and our teachers and coaches, so that we know what direction.
I just have one comment, and I've been quiet during this whole thing.
Mr. Teacher?
Yeah, but, and this is more a comment on the HB3 law. It seems like, okay, well, having the board focus on early literacy, early math, and then CCMR, and we're missing a whole big gap, which is the middle grades.
The middle.
And I mean, I
All
understand,
that other stuff.
I understand us, I mean, because that's the law, we're kind of meet the law as required, but I feel like, and I think this is very positive, very good discussion we should be having, to Kathy's point, but I feel like we need something on the mill, about the mill grades too, and having something, because we're just getting both extremes, but also we're looking at pretty much half of a child's schooling just getting missed between these and this.
Bookmarks.
That makes a big
Bookmarks.
impact to get to that CCMR and all that. So I don't know if we could maybe possibly, kind of go above and beyond and have something kind of measured for the board to look at for the middle grades, because I think that'd be positive to look at. And so, like, we're not blinded by, oh my gosh, comes 8th grade social studies or something, we're behind, right. You know what I mean? That's my only comment, but I appreciate all the work, because it does take a lot of work and all that, and so, a lot of data. But anyway, that's just my comment, so. Okay. Okay.
So then, we will make a decision on the progress measure for CCMR and get back to you on that. And then if we are able this next year to review our data in the fall and not have to wait until later in the semester, we'll do that. But of course, we want to be sure that all the data is in. And then I do know, and Chris, this may be a question for you. I know that in the Q&A, it says that we can make adjustments. Does that require another vote?
You're going to change the goals.
And we'll do that.
Okay.
So we'll get that back to you so you can preview it beforehand, and then we can
Do that in January.
talk about it in January. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all very, very much for your patience and your explanations.
Thank you.
So board and Mr. President,
The rest of us are agonizing.
I've had 53 of these, you've only had 25
really does. So board, tonight, I was going to give the board a brief update on our bond exploration. However, we have not had our first steering meeting, and that will take place tomorrow, and I will give the board a comprehensive written report about that following that meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Okay, we'll now go to consent agenda, item 10. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. Number 1, regular board meeting minutes, November 2nd, 2021. I'll ask for that be pulled, please, on that one. On B1, yes.
Okay.
B2, special board meeting minutes, November 16, 2021. C, receive principal reports. 1, Early Childhood Center. Like that pulled, please. C1. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary. 8, Lomax Elementary. 9, James H. Baker 6th grade campus. 10, LaPorte Junior High. 11, Lomax Junior High. 12, LaPorte High School. 13, Bill DeWalt High School. D, receive financial reports for October 2021. E, approve budget amendment. F, receive human resources report. G, receive and approve first reading of TASB Local Policy Update 118 affecting local policies, CFD local, CQB locals, DFE local, DP local, EHAA local, EHBC local, EIE local, FDE local, FEA local, FEC local, FFG local, and FL local. H, approve amended 2021-2022 LaPorte ISD academic calendar. If you pull that, please. I, approve regular school board meeting schedule. If you could have that pulled, please. Okay, if you could read back the consent agenda for me.
Consent agenda items will include items B2, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Item D, E, F, and G.
Okay. Board, seek a motion.
So moved.
Deanne, Ms. Thompson made a motion.
Second.
Second by Ms. Green. A call for the vote. Thank you, board. It's unanimous. Okay, we'll go to B1. I'll make this quick. For the meeting minutes of November 2nd, it has under, in the minutes, under action item, let's see, I have my notes here, 10A and 10B, it's mentioned the, who made the motion, who seconded it, but does not have the vote results on there. And if we could get those added, okay, and if any motion, please include that change. It's both for the architects for items 10A and 10B. Okay. Okay, other than that, seek a motion.
Make a motion to approve item B1
Okay.
for the amendments.
Okay, appreciate it. Mr.
Second.
Martin made the motion with the amendments and seconded by Ms. Thompson. Call for the vote. Is unanimous. Thank you so much. Okay, then we go
C1.
C1, Early Childhood Center. I had a question on the campus report. It shows our enrollment at 61. I was wanting to know what's our enrollment for kind of a break even for the program. What's our target enrollment for the program?
We can have up to 100 students enrolled in the program depending on the breakdown of ages based on our staff. And so in order to turn a profit, we were looking at trying to get there to that number. What do you say, Ron, to break even?
Or kind of the program, or ideally, or where are we shooting for, I guess, for enrollment for the program as a district?
We're trying to get to that 100,
Okay.
to that 100, but what happens is if, say for instance, you have more children in the the 6 weeks room to 18 months of age, you're counting more slots and you need more square footage for those children than you would, say, a 4-year-old. Does that kind of help you out? Kind of just like in elementary schools, pre-K through 2nd grade, the state says, hey, it's through 4th grade, 22 to 1. 5th grade, you can start to go up a little higher. Same concept for daycares.
Okay.
So is there a ratio of how many babies we have versus the true?
Yes, it depends on your individual enrollment. So right now, our baby room is full based on the size of the room. So we cannot take we have a waiting list. We can't take any more babies. So what we can take is room, space in like the 4-year-old program, but we can't take in the 2-year-old program because we've reached our capacity. Remember, it's about ratios when you think about a daycare, not a school system.
Right.
And
That's what makes it different.
So I don't know what our break even is, and I can calculate that, but this is an enterprise fund, so this is something we don't want to break even. We want to make money on so we can sustain the program, and we can buy furniture and fixtures.
Materials.
Something happens with them and those kind of things. So, and it also depends on how we're staffing it, because sometimes we have vacancies, sometimes we don't, so, but I can get numbers for you on that. I don't know them off the top of my head.
And the younger the student or the younger the age group, the more adults you need in the room than the older. So that also plays on your staffing and the amount of money you spend on staffing.
And my other question is, I saw the breakdown with as far as like 26 of them, the children of LPISD staff. So I'm curious about, do y'all get feedback from the other 35? Like, how did they hear about us? Or how did they hear about the offerings and see who are we targeting the right population? You know what I'm saying? Just how are we reaching out to the public as far as getting kind of the responses that we're getting, that they're interested in enrolling their child here?
Believe it or not, Mr. Yonda, the most that I've heard from is word of mouth and our staff members that tell people, you really want and I am so proud of that staff there. but you really want your child there because they hone in on academics, and our children coming out of that 4-year-old program are coming out reading. They're coming out ahead of their peers in the kindergarten classroom, and that's really what's taken off. It's that true, hey, I know there may be daycares over here, and that facility's brand new. Heritage has been there since 2005. But if you want those academics, that's what I'm hearing. A lot of people tell me. They walk up to me and say those things.
I'm just curious, like, how we get from the,
Kids are there and it's all word of mouth. They
Mhm,
talk to each other.
I'm just seeing what we do the next level, how we get from the moment 62, that 100
But the
target.
thing is, right now.
Well, I can't take any more in
can't-
certain,
okay,
right.
right.
So that's, so we can have
like a
up to
dance.
100, but you have to look at your ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can only have so many babies 6 weeks to 18 months in that room, they're constantly looking at the date to see when can Jewel move over to the 1-year-old classroom
Right.
so that I can get them in
Okay.
and toggle the staff back and forth. So when we have two, we have those 2 classrooms that are at capacity with the waiting list. So they're trying to get in to our program.
Okay.
I would also like to state that a lot of daycares and after-school programs are closing because there's not enough enrollment at other facilities. So just knowing that alone, there are opportunities to gain students, but the cost is one of those things that hits us there. And so a lot of people that even I've referred have said, oh, it's higher than some of the other places. But again, the education side of it is so important and is so wonderful.
We have a certified teacher there.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I
makes
always
it- that-
say.
I mean, my 4-year-old can get a certified teacher. I may not can qualify for pre-K, quote unquote, public pre-K, but that same pre-K teacher who would have taught pre-K here is employed there. Does that make
Oh, yes,
kids coming out just
absolutely.
like it?
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, we don't need a call for the vote, just receiving a principal report for that one, so we'll go ahead and move on to item H, approve amended 2021-2022 LaPorte ISD academic calendar. My question is for that, just to want to make sure for myself before I take this vote, and based on what I've seen in the backup, we're only changing February 18th, correct?
Is that correct?
That's the only
Okay.
day we ended up changing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is, sorry, that's what I was like, I think I'm gonna stay for the next one.
Okay, and my thing is, and I know, I love the fact that we did the call-outs for the last change that we did with regards to the changes to the academic calendar. I thought it was very effective. Thank you, Adam, for initiating that. I just ask if the board approves this change, that we go ahead and start, whether through, I don't know, through principal
all
letters and all that communication.
communication
I know it's
channels.
probably going to be when it gets close to time in February, but do the call out again, yeah. That's all I ask, so if we can get that communicated to the public. But other than that, that's it. Board, do you have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, if not, I seek a motion.
Communication about it.
So moved.
Ms. Green, call, okay, thank you. Mr. Shoppy seconded. We'll call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we go to item I, approve regular school board meeting schedule, and I pulled this just to emphasize to the board of the, looking at the changes for January and February. Do anybody have any issues with those changes for those 2 months? Just make sure that everybody's okay.
No, I meant your calendar and your.
For, in the board, the change on the, for the board, it's in the backup. In the agenda. It's online on the board book. Okay, let me pull it up. Let me in that way I can read it to you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Just so everybody
So-
can mark their normal calendar. Yeah.
Put it up here.
Jen, do you want me to read it?
I got it up now. Okay, so the proposed change for January meeting would go to the second Tuesday of the month. But you have an issue for that, right, Chris? And also the second Tuesday in February. And the reason is for the January, because the holidays for the school district coming back. And then February, administrators have a, yeah.
6 o'clock. Open meeting is at 6, 5 o'clock is for the closed
closed. Would that be too early for you on that? They have to be at,
we've already discussed that.
yeah, well,
Well, but I mean, they won't be back in school on the first
So
Tuesday, so.
do you think
Any,
that-
any meeting that you start at 5 o'clock?
okay,
we can make it.
so
Well, we can.
change that.
Yeah, that's not, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But can the,
Put that at
does the
6.
date work for you?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, the date's fine.
Make a note, so we
You okay?
we'll get that back.
Okay. So the date's fine. January 11th was the second Tuesday. February 8th would be the second Tuesday. March, April, May, and June would still be the first Tuesday of the month. Okay, so we're okay with those dates? And we'll start time 6 for close and then come back out 7. That'll be okay?
Verbiage.
Okay,
I don't get off till 5.
okay. Board, is that okay? Is it?
What, I'm sorry.
The date change for January. and
date's
Feb-
fine.
Okay, and the time.
I
So-
thought we moved on from there. No.
No.
Kathy thought it was
Okay.
something else. She's like, what, huh?
Okay, if not, seek a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Shoppy made a motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Thompson. Call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, and then we move on to action and discussion items. Item 11A, receive proposed 2022-2023 LaPorte ISD academic calendar.
Right. And so, Board, we're not asking actually for action tonight outside of accepting this and giving us some feedback based on what you have in front of you. So we're open to hear any comments or suggestions or recommendations you might have. As we said, there's been lots of conversations with lots of stakeholders. Jewel, you can step forward if you'd like.
Poor Jewel.
She's been up there a lot
We're
tonight.
running her through the ringer today.
But we've done what we can do to try to keep in touch and keep in line with all of the testing calendars and all of the other dates that go along with, building an instructional calendar. And so we've got to make certain that our students are in school for a certain amount of days in the fall semester, a certain amount of days in the spring semester, and there are LPAC dates, there are all types of testing, ACT, SAT, AP exams, STAR, EOC exams, and all of those things are layered on top of an instructional calendar. So to get to where we are has already been a miracle to where we are right now. So your thoughts?
Jewel, I have a question. First of all, I applaud anybody that would go through all that with all the parameters that y'all have to keep in mind to try to work on that committee. So, kudos to the DEIC and teachers that are involved in this. And my only, and I would say concern, I just want to understand starting Christmas break in the middle of the week. Just seems a little off from what we've done in the past. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just different. And so I'd like to understand the reasoning or the thought process behind that. Second part, follow-up to that, is on that Wednesday, we have it as a half a day, and I see a lot of parents going, the heck with that, I'm not sending my kids to school for a half a day, and us losing a lot of attendance and kids not being in class. Why would we not make it a full day? If we're gonna go 3 days, let's go 3 days. But I wait to hear your expert advice.
So we have met with lots of stakeholder groups, as Dr. Jackson stated, and one of the concerns out of DEIC was that the second, which is on a Monday, is when the National New Year's holiday is actually going to be observed for the 2023 school year. And so in keeping with a line across the United States, the recommendation out of DEIC was to have that off. Well, we also have to keep in line with 187 days of teacher
Yes.
days that they have to put in as well.
Absolutely.
So we were trying to get on the other side of that to give them that opportunity for having the second off as they had requested and putting that and sliding back instead of getting out on December 16th. Slide back the 3 days there, and then they're also getting the 3 days, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th in January. So it's still the same 10 days, we're just sliding them over. We were concerned about the half-day for the elementaries. They kind of coordinate their parties and things like that, so they can have a captive audience, and our secondary principals working with Ms. Tilly, they were going to schedule semester exams to try to get those kids to come on in and then be there for that. But the reasoning behind that was to try to get off on the 2nd for everybody to observe the national holiday. And that was, and I can't remember which staff member brought that up, but they were wanting that 2nd off.
Ms. Whitfield, I'm going to share that same concern because I'm kind of thinking about it as a parent. You know, a lot of people, as far as planning Christmas vacations, a lot of things going on in the holidays, that you're looking at already going to school about 4 days before Christmas. And a lot of the holidays, people take their, trips, things like that. I'm afraid, too, one is I think we're going to hit pretty much on our average daily attendance on those 3 days. And actually, I tried to look at some of the other school districts, not say we have to follow everything that they do, but just to kind of get an idea of what kind of different ideas are going out there. And I've seen Plano, Northside, Keller, and Katy, and they all have the students off starting on the 19th. And then they have the 2nd off of January, having teachers report back on the 3rd, and then having students report back on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of January. I just, and because I'm thinking like after that, everybody's kind of going back to work during that time, and then having the students off, then we're looking at for our daycare and, I'd be curious to see what our local school districts, because a lot of our teachers may have students enrolled in at nearby school districts, neighboring districts, which I haven't seen any encounters as far as that's concerned, but I found these 4 that were published, and they all have students going on the 19th, off starting on the 19th, having the 16th the last day of school, and then coming back on the 4th, with teachers coming back on the 3rd of January. So that was one of my concerns. But Ms. Thompson had the floor, so I want to continue, and then I can bring it. Okay.
That's all. I just wanted to understand what the reasoning was behind that.
And my other question is, what's the as far as the reasoning behind the early release day on September 16th and March 10th, other than professional development? Can you elaborate a little bit why those particular dates?
As we looked at the calendar, one of the concerns that we had coming out of DEIC was to provide a day for our teachers and students to have a break each month. So if you look throughout the calendar, we wanted to ensure that they had the time to have that break, but we also know that there are still mandatory trainings, things that we have to do in order for our teachers to have what they need in order to move forward. We just talked about our board goals. So there was no particular reason why it's on that date, but we knew that those are pivotal times in transitioning. It's about 6 weeks into the school year for us there in September, and then looking over at March, we would have time for us to, we usually benchmark, or now we use the term interim assessments around that time. And so if we plan to do that there, we could have an opportunity for our teachers to get their tutoring groups together, which would be about 6 weeks out from that May assessment, and so that they can do that.
Okay, because I was kind of looking at a teacher point of view on the March 10th one, being that it's the Friday before spring break, and I don't know about you, but I taking professional development on the Friday before spring break, one is really don't have time to implement because you're going to be off for a week, and plus I'm thinking about spring break, and so I'm just kind of curious why that on that 10th there in March. So I'm just kind of.
And we had it on the Monday this year. It's the actually, I want to say the 7th or the 8th of this year. It's at the beginning, but what we noticed is that we have our interims at the middle school level as well as at the elementary level assessments going on the Tuesday through the Thursday, and so we wanted that data to have it, to be able to disaggregate it and then put the plan in place so that when we come back on the 20th, we can hit the road running. Tutoring groups are established. We know where we're going, and we're not waiting on another week to, let's look at the data, who's going where do we need, we have it ready to go.
And being kind of looking at financials and all that, I'm just kind of a little, I know we probably take a hit ADA-wise on those half days, especially on a Friday. So I'm, I understand as far as trying to get in professional development, but I know it just as far as trying to minimize those in terms of making sure that we're just not shooting ourselves in the foot as far as ADA is concerned on that. But that's it. Other than that and the Christmas holidays, that's the only issues I had. Board, do y'all have any?
For me, I guess I take a different approach to that. I actually appreciate you guys, and we talked about this last month. I really appreciate you guys putting that on a Friday as opposed to a Monday. As a parent, it was always a lot harder for me to take off on a Monday half day than it is on a Friday half day. So it looks like we don't have any of those other than November election day, which I understand why we have to take off that. So as a parent, I appreciate that. I have no problem or qualm or issue with taking off early in December. It seems like as a kid, and as far as I can remember at least, I thought we always took off half day the week before Christmas, right? So to me, this is, I know we're getting a couple extra days. I know that we have 3 extra days, 3 less days of surplus built into this. So my only question is, on those 3 days less, certainly I know that the kids aren't there, but does that impact the teachers? Do they get off time as well, or are they going to be required to go to like trainings?
So I don't know if you had a chance to review the calendar or not, but in May, you see where we have the 30th and the 31st. You'll note there that it says professional development / exchange days. So what we're proposing is, as we move forward this summer, we'd like to really hone in on our teachers and professional development that we are going to require that they attend during the summertime, to go ahead and get those hours in for us and then be able to use them on exchange days. So in actuality, if you don't attend, then you have to attend on the 30th and the 31st. Otherwise, we really want to front load some of that PD, like you said, Mr. Yonda. And so you'll see that, and note that we don't have as many half-day PD days in this calendar, because we do want to try to front load and get all of that done as much as we can prior to the first day of instruction.
I'm all for that.
And unless, I mean, things may have changed, but it seems to me like it doesn't matter what your last day is, you're going to have high absences from staff and students no matter what. If it's the last day, it's the last day, and they're gonna do it.
And I have to give credit to the campus principals as well. They're trying to plan strategic fun days at, for example, the elementary level. But then the high school and secondary campuses are saying, hey, you come, you get your assessments done, then we have some other things planned for you as well, that we're trying to drum up that attendance rate.
So that was my question. For December, are we certain that from an exam standpoint for our students on secondary level, that they have enough time in that 2.5 days to get all of their exams done in December? Okay. It's not overload.
They met some. I'm the Duchess of the calendar, Miss Tilly's queen. That's their normal schedule.
Okay, so the first couple of days of the week are usually just catch-up instructional, and then, got it. Thank you.
And at the elementary level, we don't have semester exams, if you will. So
But my question is, if we did move those to 19, 20, 21st being holidays and put in the back, could you have those final exams that last week?
Yes,
on the 12th, the week of the 12th? Yeah.
by calling, you can push them forward. When y'all met with Miss Tilly, if we're unable to, or if we move the night, y'all would just slide the days forward, right? They would just slide it forward. Same thing with the elementary parties, and everything would just shift forward.
Yeah.
I would say that when we had our conversation, again, this is for you guys to receive, but we are wanting to move forward with receiving community input as well as board input via our website, survey going out to parents, staff. You know, anyone can fill it out, community stakeholders, just to give us some feedback so we can see where our community would be with this. And to get it out there early, because it would be a change for a lot of you.
I appreciate how early y'all have this. I know this is way earlier than we normally do, it seems like to me. Right?
I think everything else in the calendar is pretty standard. Again, you will note what's new is you'll see the breaks throughout, which is one of the concerns that our staff had. They wanted some breaks, and so we were able to give them some of those breaks that we tried to tie them into supporting our students as well as what's going on at that time. It would be a testing. Is it semester change for exams? Is it the grading period change? You know, those kinds of things. So we really tried to hone in on that to make sure that we had those placed strategically in our calendar. We, of course, also have to have the weather makeup days, and you'll notice them in January and in February there. And we have to have them on the calendar. We may not use them, but we have to have them. So we will get that out for community feedback, Dr. Jackson? You have anything else there?
Board, any further questions or comments on the calendar? Okay, if not, thank you, Ms. Whitfield.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield.
We'll go to item 12, action on closed session items. We don't have any to act upon, so we go to item 13. We all been wishful there. Adjournment, I guess, at 9:20 p.m. And happy anniversary to Dr. Jackson. Happy birthday to Mr. Murdoch.
Oh, was his anniversary?